So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast with Lucas Carpenter. We're going to ask him some questions today. I'm going to start. So what inspired you to start making music?
When did I start making music?
What inspired you to start making music?
What inspired me? So when I was 13, I went to buy Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It. And they were all sold out. And so I bought Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles.
Okay.
Okay. And so you're like, oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so and it like flipped a switch in my brain. It was just I couldn't stop listening to it. I loved it, and and then I started playing guitar soon after that, and then just became a weirdo theater choir kid, and just started making music and writing stuff pretty early on, and yeah, it's been a kind of a crazy journey. I mean, I went to music school. I went to the Berklee College of Music in Boston and toured all over the place. And that's kind of what got it all started was me not being able to buy Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It.
It's funny that you brought up the whole theater thing because I definitely heard like the theater influence in that EP. I was like, they're definitely a theater kid.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it took a while to kind of like figure out how to kind of infuse that in what I do, you know, because it's kind of, you start out, and I think a lot of folks, when they make music, there's the stuff that they really love, and then there's the stuff that they're like, this is what I'm supposed to sound like, you know, and like I know all these singer-songwriters that just like, they like love Britney Spears, and I'm just like, why don't you make songs like Britney Spears? It's like, well, no, like I'm like the white girl with the acoustic guitar, so I'm supposed to sound like a sad girl. And it's like, no, make the Britney record. Come on.
Yeah. All right. So solid, motivational. So congrats on your newest release, The Shimmer. How do you feel the response to that EP so far?
It's been great. I mean, I kind of took I don't know if you'd call it a break from music for a little while. I kind of had I toured for a real long time and kind of put touring on hold for a little bit and just kind of focused on some life stuff and bought a house and did a bunch of other things. So this is the first EP that I've put out in quite a while. So it's it's been kind of, it's a wild time to release an EP. I must say that. But I mean, I think that the fans that I do have, I think we're really stoked about it, and it was kind of cool to give them a bunch of new stuff. But also there's the song Dreamers Working 9 to 5 is actually I wrote that song like maybe 12 years ago or so.
What?
So that one, was it 12, maybe 13
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it had come out on an EP years ago, and I wanted to redo it, and so that was really nice. But but the response has been, I think, pretty decent among the folks that know who I am, and just trying to spread the gospel and get more folks into it,
Yeah. We both actually listened to it, and I was a really big fan of it. I don't know what Shane thought.
This is one of my favorite things I listen to for the podcast, and I have listened to a lot of music.
That means a lot. Thank you.
I was genuinely blown away. And it's not my typical genre either. I was listening to metalcore before I listened to your EP, and I was like, holy shit, this is good.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot. Yeah, it's what's really funny is over the years, it's like you get gigs and you play gigs wherever you can, and the amount of shows that I've played with like just all metal bands where it was like me playing like my one-man band looping thing and like, funky white boy stuff and like all these metal bands. And what's so funny is like I have such a special place in my heart for metal bands because they always are so nice.
They are.
Yeah.
They are like, some of the nicest people we interview.
Yeah. It's like they're so nice, and it's like, and they would always love me. They would love me. They would just be like, dude, what? Because I'm doing this, like, playing all these instruments and stuff on stage, loop stuff, and they're like, whoa. And then they get up on stage like,
yeah.
But it's so, because I think they get all their aggression out like on stage, and then they come off and they're like, yay,
we did it.
Whereas like the singer-songwriter person is like the person in the corner who's like, ugh, like these guys suck. Everybody sucks. And then they get up there and they're like, ooh, love, I love everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, anyways, but yes, thank you. Thank you for praising me. Thank you for.
Yes.
I'm really glad you guys like it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So is there any meaning behind the EP name?
Yes. So I made it with my friend Kevin Rooney, and he's the producer of it. And so we were working at his studio, and he has a high strung guitar. So it's a guitar. It's like if you took a 12-string guitar and you removed the low strings of it. So it's all these like little teeny high strings.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you play it, it kind of sounds like this weird shimmery, like pretty little teeny guitar. It sounds like a little teeny guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd play it and it just has this beautiful tone. And I was like, it shimmers. Do you hear the shimmer? And I kept saying this, like, and so we put it on, like, it's on almost every song, like in the background. And I just, so we kept joking. I kept saying like, it's the shimmer. Do you hear the shimmer? And then, so when I was trying to figure out what to name the EP, I was like, I should name it the Shimmer. But then also, it also kind of ties into, again, it because I kind of took some time off from music, and life happens and kind of kicks your butt. And, and then when you kind of get back into it, it kind of, this EP was kind of like for lack of a better term, kind of a rebirth for me in a lot of ways. And, kind of really swung for the fences on it. And, because I've been making music a long time, and, I really just wanted to, just like really go for it on this one, and hire people that I really, really loved, and working with Kevin was amazing. And it was kind of like, so in a way, it was kind of like finding the shimmer within myself.
Oh.
And and what's funny is the I don't think it's sitting around here. I think it's upstairs. But on the it looks like I'm not wearing anything on the cover of it. But I'm wearing a necklace, right? That's like all shimmery on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the necklace is actually a piece of glass that's so my touring van was broken into 10 years ago.
Oh no.
And I got like all my gear stolen.
Oh.
And so it was this weird shift where at that time I was touring like 100 shows a year and was just, constantly on the road, and like music was all I was doing. And that was like a big switch where getting the van broken into, it kind of like, it kind of stalled things out a little bit. And so I'm a weirdo, and I like keeping things for nostalgic purposes, and with the idea that like, I'm going to make a diorama out of this or something weird later on, which some of the time I don't, but I kept all these broken glass shards from the window of the van that was all smashed. And I'm going to do something with it someday. So this year, I took one of the pieces of glass and I made it into a necklace. So the necklace is actually a piece of glass from my smashed window 10 years ago. And the EP was actually released on the 10th anniversary of the break-in of my van.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like weird little things that, it was kind of a special thing to me personally, you know what I mean? Like an interesting life change and goal, and, kind of feeling like this is the beginning of something else,
Yeah.
So there you have it.
I like
That's
that.
really cool. The amount of thought and effort that went into just that.
Into little things that people don't know.
Yeah.
And some of it, it's like, you don't really, it wasn't like I had this ultimate vision going into it, like, I'm going to make this EP called The Shimmer, and but then it all kind of started like all making sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah. I'm gonna, and it all just kind of, it all kind of fit well. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Perfect.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this EP? I know you said one of the songs was like, 13 years old?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So, what's really funny is a few of the tunes. So like I tend to write sometimes in chunks of time where it's like, if I was, man, if my songwriting teacher could hear me now, Oh, he'd be so upset. But I wish that I like being able to write every day if I can. But you know, sometimes it doesn't really work. So I sometimes I write in like chunks of like where it's like I'll just finish like 5 songs in one big chunk, and then I don't kind of write for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, that was another thing with this whole kind of new era is like I started writing a lot again, and I've definitely got way more songs that aren't finished than are finished. You know, because I come up with if I'm going to get technical here, there's a lot of thought goes into a lot of my yeah. But what I tend to do is so I write, if you recognize in the songs and stuff, it's like they're very thematic and they're very kind of story oriented. And so what I do is I tend to come up with a concept that I want to write about, and then I come up with a title kind of from that concept, right? So either I'll do it through free writing or something, or you know, kind of come up with different ideas that have to do with that specific topic. And then from that, I find the title and I'm like, haha, there's the title. And then from there, I write a hook, like a chorus, like a hook. And then kind of build everything around that. This is like a very, so Pat Pattison, I have to give a shout out to, the lyric writing teacher that I had. He's kind of the guru at Berkeley. So he kind of taught us this style of basically writing from a title, and a lot of like country writers do this, you know, and people who do the kind of story song type thing. But it's a very concise way of writing, because everything that you write kind of goes back to that general theme, and so you can kind of write this story based around that title.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in general how I write. But sometimes, you know, I'll literally come up with a chorus, and I'll write the chorus and I won't do anything with it for a while. Like that happens sometimes. You know, so a few of the songs, the song Your Girlfriend, I probably wrote the chorus to that song probably like 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
And it just kind of, it was like after like going, it's like, you know, you go to these shows again, you talk about like this, basically the guy that I'm describing, the singer songwriter guy that's like in the corner like, this sucks, like that's the guy in the song Your Girlfriend.
Okay.
Like that's the dude, you know. And so but I had this kind of idea for it, and I wrote the chorus, and I was like, you know, sometimes you have, not to be boastful, but sometimes you have those moments where you're like, yeah, this is great. And that was like one of those moments where I was like, yeah, this is great. This is good. Yeah. Something someday. And and so when I kind of like was rekindled to like, you know, write and really dive into this kind of next chapter, that was one that I was like, I got to finish this like now. And so so some of them, so that one you know, was kind of older, or an older concept. Linda McCartney had been finished for a few years. Like I made a recording of that a while ago, but I kind of never really loved it, and so it was really great to kind of do this whole new version of it. Tiny Fortress was a little bit older too, was never recorded, but then a tune like The Persimmon Tree, literally I wrote it in like one day. It was like just a couple hours.
Wow.
Boom.
Yeah.
So and you know, and so all of them kind of like have very different, you know, they all kind of came about in different ways, you know. But again, I tend to have like, there's so many songs that are like almost done, you know, and I just need to just sit down and really be like, all right, finish these songs, because there's some tasty ones. I think there's some good ones.
Okay.
On the horizon.
Okay.
All right.
All
Yeah.
right.
And also there's, you know, there's a pile of older songs that I've just never recorded, or I did record a long time ago and like kind of want to revisit them, you know. So it's a whole new era, you know.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So where was your headspace at while you were writing this EP?
Again, it was kind of like, it was like I had, we're really going to get in the thick of it. I had kind of come like, so I had a pretty big relationship end, and you know, was kind of, I don't want to say moping around for a couple months, you know what I mean, but I was kind of like trying to figure out like, you know, what am I going to do next, you know, like what's going on with my personal life and all that stuff, and but also like professionally and career wise and everything, and writing wise, and you know, I again, it kind of just it like, there was this weekend that like I saw a friend that I hadn't seen in a real long time, and found out that that she was pregnant, and it was like this beautiful moment, especially beautiful because like I introduced her to the guy that like got her knocked up.
Yeah.
and now they're married. And now they're married, and they have a baby who's beautiful. And so like, so there was this weird weekend where it's like, after this breakup happened, a couple months later, I Friday night was that, and it was like super emotional and amazing, and like reconnected with this friend, and it was amazing. And then of course, again, I'm like hyper emotional because I'm like coming out of this like relationship, you know. And and then the next night I go see Rascal Flatts, who is one of my favorite bands ever. Mm-hmm. Love Rascal Flatts, right? And on stage, I look up and I see this kid that I know, who I didn't know was playing with them, who he's like, it's my buddy Kevin. He's leaning against them, like playing guitar. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like in the pit singing every word, like, what is happening? What? Yeah. And like, and so I'm like, and he's like, you know, it's a crazy moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But it was like this beautiful moment of like, yeah, like this is attainable, you know, like, this, like, you know, you still can do this, make this happen. Yeah. And it was like this amazing moment with like one of my favorite groups, just watching them play. And then the next night I went to see Carly Rae Jepsen for $10. And I always liked Carly Rae Jepsen, but it was like everything about this, I won't dive into like all the details, but it's like everything about the show, like just like clicked in my head, where I was like, I love all of this so much. I love, like, it was just, and it was like this, it sounds so silly, but it's like, it really was like a spiritual kind of like shift. And this whole weekend of like boom, 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 it was like, oh my gosh. And so I like just started writing like crazy like that week. And it was just, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then a couple months later, I run into that guy, Kevin, who's like on stage with Rascal Flatts. And he's like, yeah, I got the gig because I do production stuff for Jay DeMarcus and Rascal Flatts. And he loved what I did. And he's like, hey, can you do this stuff live? And he's like, yes. And he's like, do you want to just be in Rascal Flatts? And he's like, yes. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Well, I'm looking for a producer for this next batch of songs that I'm doing. And he's like, dude, yeah. And he sent me a bunch of his stuff. And I was like, he is so amazing. This is so good. And he produced the EP. So it was like, again, one of these like full circle, like, whoa, kind of things that all kind of transpired. So that is a long drawn out thing to say that where my headspace was, you know, rejuvenated, and I felt like I knew who I was.
I'm curious how you saw Carly Rae Jepsen for $10.
So it was crazy. So she played at the Ryman in Nashville, and this was, when was this? This was 2019, I guess. Yeah, summer 2019. So she was doing her the album Dedicated. She just like had put out, and so you know, it's like one of those things where it's like that's what's so crazy is like some markets people do really, really well, and then other markets it's like they just don't do as well. And it's like, so she played the Ryman in Nashville, and mind you, it's like she did 2 nights sold out in New York City. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, sells out like all these other major markets, but in Nashville, you know, I think it was basically just like a ton of scalpers bought tickets, and then they were all available online. And so like, because the show didn't sell out, they like dropped, which by the way, once concerts open back up, who knows if this is the case, but literally just go wherever you guys live, go on randomly on StubHub and just find shows, because you can find shows sometimes like you would never go see, and
Exactly.
it's like The Who playing for like, and you can get a ticket for like $20. You're like,
The night of, yeah.
what? It's like, so it's like, it might not be an artist you'd like would be like, oh, I have to go see them, but you're like, I can go see this legend for like $20. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So with her, it was like, I saw that she was playing and I was like, oh, I always really like Carly Rae Jepsen stuff. Like, oh, the ticket's like $10. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And I went by myself, and then it like kind of changed my life.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of these life-changing moments, like not meaning to.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I try. Sometimes maybe I'm looking too deep into stuff, but I think that, it's like I think there's a lot of beautiful things to see if you kind of open up your eyes along the journey. You know what I mean? And kind of look and be like, how'd I get here? Like, why did this happen? This is kind of nuts, And then you kind of look at the path and you're like, whoa, had like one little thing happen differently, like I might not be sitting here talking to you, lovely folks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, I don't know how to.
By the way, I have to ask, where are you guys at right now?
New Jersey.
And I'm in Virginia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
How do you two know each other?
The internet.
The
Yeah.
internet.
The internet. Yeah.
We have never met in person.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
For a
Wow.
while, yeah.
You guys should meet at one of my shows.
Sure.
Genius idea.
That's great. Yeah. Cool. All right. Just come to Virginia because my parents would not want to drive me to New Jersey. So.
Yes. Well, I'll do that.
And I don't want to drive to Virginia.
So just a middle part somewhere in there.
Cool.
We'll figure it out.
What about like how close are you guys to DC? Is that like a minute?
I'm like 3 hours away from it.
I don't fucking know.
Pretty far.
I haven't looked at
probably both. That's probably like the center.
Yeah, I haven't looked at like a map to see where a state is since shows ended, because like all the time I'd be looking up like the tickets are cheaper here. How far away is it? And it'd be like, oh, it's like 4 hours away.
Yeah,
worth it.
Jersey and where in Virginia?
I'm on the Jersey Shore, like 5 minutes away from the beach.
And I'm in Virginia Beach.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I frequented both of those places.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Virginia Beach, man. That's like, you got freaking Timbaland and the Neptunes and like.
Yep.
Some of my favorite producers came out of Virginia Beach.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I don't know my music scene well. We just really rely on like New Jersey music scene because I don't know anything over here. Shane's the one who goes to shows and stuff. So yeah, I've been to 2.
Well, yeah, if you're in Virginia Beach and you're on the Jersey Shore, like forget about DC. You guys are like, because there's that bridge that goes across that like you can, what's that giant bridge? There's like a huge bridge in Virginia that like goes across. Maybe, I don't know.
I've been on many bridges.
Gloria doesn't leave her house.
Yeah, I haven't left my house in like a year now, so I really don't know what's happening out there.
Oh gosh,
she forgot about that bridge, if it even exists. She's got no idea.
Well, I have fond memories from both Virginia Beach and the Jersey Shore. So fun fact: the town that I'm from is actually. So I always say that I'm from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, because it's like most people don't even know where Williamsport is, but it's the biggest like city town in the area. But the town that I'm actually from is like 10 minutes away from Williamsport, and it's Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania. Okay. And it makes zero sense because it is nowhere near the Jersey Shore. It is in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm like, isn't Williamsport like in the middle of Pennsylvania? It ain't even like on the border of New Jersey.
Oh no.
It's
like, it's like north central. It's like 4 hours from the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like nowhere near.
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
Wow.
No. Yeah. So wait. So did you guys connect and did you decide that you wanted to do a podcast? Is that how this all went down?
I don't think we ever meant to do a podcast.
No. We didn't meet each other and say, okay, let's do a podcast. Random person. Yeah, it was just like like a Panic at the Disco server. And I didn't even like talk to him that much on the server, and then like we just decided to start a podcast like
We went from acquaintances to best friends in the span of like a couple months once
Because
the
of the
pandemic hit.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, hey, you know what? To bring it all full circle, so I went to see Panic at the Disco multiple times. I way back in the day, and so this band, the Hush Sound, opened up for them. This was like Honda Civic tour, like 2000. What was this? 2009, maybe.
That's when they were still good.
Yeah, when Ryan was in it. Wait, did Ryan?
Yes. So
I'm pretty sure Ryan was in there.
And John Walker were both still in the group, and so because it was the tour for Pretty Odd.
Okay.
So I go see them, and the Hush Sound open up, and so what's really funny is, so the drummer of the Hush Sound is my friend Darren, who got my friend Lauren pregnant with that baby I was talking about earlier.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh! Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ta-da!
Full circle moment.
So if somebody would have said back then, if they would have been like, "Hey, see that guy on stage? Yeah, that guy, that guy's gonna marry your friend and get her pregnant." Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've toured a bit with John Walker, who was in Panic for a while, and yeah, he did that Pretty Odd. Again, it's like I didn't know him back then, and somebody would have been like, "Oh yeah, see that guy? Yeah, that guy you're gonna like tour with a bunch and like be good buds with." And yeah, him and his wife Cassie are real cool people. They're real awesome people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I keep on harassing him on Twitter.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Come on the podcast because he tweeted out, "What podcast should I go on?" And I got everyone that follows us to say "Good Noise Podcast."
Literally,
and
the
guess what he didn't do?
He didn't.
I mean, I love John to death. He's not great at this
social media thing.
Yeah, he's like a hippie guy. Like he's one of the coolest human beings that I've ever met. Yeah, him and his wife are super awesome. But he's
yeah, and then he tweeted out that
social media.
Then he tweeted out that he's going on Ryan Seaman's podcast. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man! There were 10 notifications there saying you should come on ours.
That is just bull crap.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but yeah, well, that's really cool. It's so wild how humans meet each other and how you guys met, and how long ago was that?
When we first met on the Panic, 2018, I think, when that was your join message, and then we didn't even like talk.
Yeah.
So I don't even know when to date that back. Yeah.
October of 2019 when we started this fucking thing.
Oh God, horrible. The first season was just 9 people talking over each other trying to get a sentence out. So it was not good.
You live and learn.
Yeah. So back to your questions.
Sure. Yeah. I can talk a lot, so
no, it's okay. So while going through this EP, what band or artist influences do you think pop out the most to you, if any?
Like took a piece. I really enjoy chewing ice. I took a piece of ice, and I'm like, I'm not gonna chew. I shouldn't chew ice while I'm doing this. I mean, Carly Rae Jepsen. I mean, like, it was, that was one. I mean, I love pop music in general. I mean, I really love great hooks and, I mean, really cool production and stuff and all that. And so, oh, hold on. Sorry. I just my mother was trying to call me.
Oh.
Sorry, Mom, I'm in the middle of something. Yeah. So, I mean, I love pop music. So, Carly Rae Jepsen, that was a bit, it's funny. There's actually a few moments in it where I was literally like, I want one of those Carly Rae Jepsen yelps, where it's like, she's in a lot of her songs, she's got this like, hi, like she does these like, hi.
Yeah.
And so, in the song First Ex-Wife, there's a where it's like eternity, hi, just for a while. It's like, literally, that's me. It sounds like a chipmunk, but it's me, and then we like pitch shifted it to be like, ah! And there's a couple. I think I think Linda McCartney also has a Carly Rae Jepsen Yelp, as I call it. That's what I call it. But it's not. I didn't sample her. Don't sue me, Carly.
Exactly, Carly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so influenced by the people that, like, you know, I've listened to forever. Paul Simon's one of my biggest influences. You know, I mean, I think most people kind of think of him as like, you know, they think of Simon and Garfunkel and, you know, the kind of more chilled out acoustic stuff, but he's like one of the funkiest freaking, like, oh, he's so funky. His band is always so good. But again, it's like, it's great pop music. It's just great pop music with like really good lyrics, you know? So I think with this, you know, we tapped into my love for the pop stuff, but also my love for, you know, folksy instruments and stuff like that. And Kevin was really, really good at being able to I played hammer dulcimer on Tiny Fortress, and, you know, I played penny whistles and different weird little percussion things and all that. So he was really good at kind of chopping it all up and, you know, making it, you know, cohesive with my overall sound, which is, I think, it's kind of like folksy meets like futuristic, like electronic music. Like I love kind of the combination of those dichotomies and stuff, you know? So, yeah. So, you know, Paul Simon, Carly Rae Jepsen, you know, Paul McCartney, obviously I have a song about his former wife, Linda McCartney. Yeah, I mean, my influences are kind of all over the map. You know, it's like we'll have moments where it's like, oh, I want this sound to sound like this kick drum from this Lady Gaga tune. And then you'll hear something else where it's like, I really want this choir sound from, I don't know, this random 70s musical theater thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
So this question should be like super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
It's so hard. As you know, I can't talk in just 3 words. Great question. 3 words describe this EP. Man, whatever I say, I need to write down because I feel like I'm gonna have to get a question like this in the future. I would say lyrical.
Mm-hmm.
That's one.
That's one. Yeah.
Lyrical. Electro pop. I don't know. Is it no, not electro pop. No.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Lyrical. Well, no, I feel like electro pop. Like electro acoustic.
Electroacoustic.
That's not a thing. I mean, it's a thing, but it's like
it's a thing now.
Yeah, you can make it a thing.
Yeah, lyrical electroacoustic. But I feel like acoustic makes it sound like it's like too acoustic, you know.
Mm-hmm, but the electric brings it back up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to go with that.
Okay, are you gonna write that down? Or do you think you're gonna?
You know, I mean, I've kind of written down similar things, but yeah, what did I say? Lyrical
electro pop. Oh no, acoustic.
Electro acoustic.
Acoustic, yeah. You were stuck on pop for a second, and then you switched to acoustic.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it is pop music, though. You know, but
it's what you want it to be.
Yeah, and unfortunately, having minimal words is not one of those things.
That's fair.
As you can tell from this interview.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So kind of in the same vein of the last question, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want this EP to invoke in your listeners?
I would say, I don't think of the best way to put this, but a connection, I guess. Because ultimately it's like the songs, even though they are, you know, 6 pop ish songs. I mean, they're kind of a lot of different themes, you know. I think in general, I also kind of wanted to get back to, I had gone through a period where I wrote a lot of like pseudo social commentary, political type tunes. And a friend of mine who has known me a long, long time, he was like, one thing I know about Lucas Carpenter is Lucas Carpenter writes love songs. And he's like, dude, you haven't been writing love songs. And I was like, oh, you're so right. And it hit me like really hard. Because I was like, wow, he's right. And so I think that there was part of it that the EP, I was like, I definitely want to get back to that, which is obviously, you know, it's a kind of a cliche type thing. Obviously everybody writes about love, but I think that my perspective on it and it's like, I don't think most people would write a song called Do You Want to Be My First Ex-Wife? So I mean, I think that the love aspect and again, just kind of like really, again, connection, you know, I mean, I think that like, that's my whole thing is like, I really want people, it's like, I may have these kind of like odd takes on things, but at the end of the day, I just want people to relate to it. You know, I want people to be able to be like, oh man, like that's me, you know, that's the soundtrack of my life and who I am. And it might be in this weird kind of packaging, you know, again, it's like most people might not write a song where the hook is like, do you want to be my first ex-wife? But where I try to come at it is like, oh, okay, there's this universal feeling of like when you see somebody and you're like, oh man, that person would be trouble. Like, I'm like super attracted to that person. But I know that if I go for it, it's probably going to end horribly, but I'm still going to do it. Yeah. And so like, we all know that feeling. And so kind of the way that I approach writing, it's like, it comes out in a song where it's, do you want to be my first ex-wife? You know, where it's like, it's a love song, but it's this weird kind of thing. So it's like, but trying to, you know, just trying to get people to, think a little differently, but ultimately come around to the same conclusion, you know, which is like, we all kind of have similar experiences. And I want people to feel connected and feel like it's somebody's saying something that like, oh man, like that's how I felt. That's how I feel, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
So you did a live rendition of your song Linda McCartney, and it was wildly impressive. How do you manage to play all of the instruments in one go and do it all in one take?
Not easily.
Okay.
So I mean, I started doing looping stuff kind of as a necessity way back in the day, because I had a band in college and stuff who like would, you know, play my music and stuff, and I knew that when I started touring, I was like, I got to do this kind of. I'm probably just going to have to do a solo thing because I can't afford a band, you know? And so I started doing looping stuff just kind of as a way to add a little bit to it. But then it kind of just eventually just kept evolving and evolving and evolving. And so now it's kind of this, you know, crazy DIY setup that I've put together. And it's, you know, it's, we took a lot with this particularly now. With the EP, it's like Kevin is like a master at Ableton Live, which is the program that I use for the looping stuff. And that's like what he does with Rascal Flatts as well. And so he was really great at being able to kind of like make the sounds that we were using in the studio and like literally like make them on keyboard patches and be able to like play drum, you know, the drum sounds and stuff. So I was able to take the actual like sounds from the recording, but then also figure out, okay, I'm going to play like this guitar part, or I'm going to play this penny whistle part, or this hammered dulcimer part, or whatever. And you just kind of like, you know, I kind of figure out how it's a process. It's a huge process. It's, you know, you kind of figure out what you can do, what you're able to do. And to me, I always approach it like, I don't want it to be boring, because the looping thing's kind of weird, because sometimes if you see a looping artist, it kind of get like, at first it's like, this is awesome, but then eventually it's just doing the same thing over and over again, and you're kind of like, okay, I get the shtick, you know. So for me, I'm like, how can I do it really quickly? How can I loop stuff really quickly? But then also, how can I do it in an interesting way, where it's like, yeah, I might be able to play this like guitar part once and then like just never have to play it again. But would it look visually better if I played it? You know what I mean? Would it look visually better if I played this part or whatever? So it's kind of like figuring out what works, what doesn't, and then arranging it all and then approaching it like it's an instrument. So you got all these little teeny instruments, but within that, you then have to like play it all. Like you play the stuff, but then you literally have to figure out like, okay, I'm gonna press this button and it's gonna record this. I'm gonna press this button, it's gonna like stop this thing and then play this thing back. So it's like you kind of just have to approach it like it's an instrument, you know, because it's you when you first try it, it's like you can't play a G chord on the guitar, but when you finally do, you're like, I figured it out. And it feels real good, you know. So you just kind of have to approach the looping stuff the same way. It's like you can't do it at first and kind of keep on hammering away at it, and then eventually you figure it out, and then you're like, okay, now I have the arrangement, and now I'm just going to practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it, and till it looks like it's fluid. You know? Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. We'll see.
All right.
Wow. All right. So where do you see the project in the next 5 years?
Like as in this EP?
As in your music.
Oh, the whole thing, like as
in the
like,
project.
Me. The project is me. You know, I mean, I ultimately, you know, it's like I don't have to be selling out arenas or anything, but I mean, I would love to take it as far as possible, as far as you know, I mean, I love I love performing. It's one of the things that's like definitely breaking my heart right now, because I you know, kind of come up with all this crazy stuff and the one-man band shows so I can get on stage and again have that connection, you know, feel that connection with people. Like I love playing, I love touring, I love getting on stage and in front of an audience. And so, you know, for me it's like as long as I can tour, and you know, obviously like I don't want to be on the road every single day of the year, but you know, I want to play. I want to play as much as possible and build the fan base as big as possible. I also got so many crazy ideas in my head for like bigger production stuff. So like what you see now is kind of like, you know, it's where it's at the moment, you know, but it's like I'm ever building and ever trying to like kind of figure out like where I'm going to go next with it. And if I had, it's kind of like, it's funny because it's like, yeah, I want to play for as big of an audience as I can, but there's also part of me where it's like, I also just want to be on bigger stages and have a bigger crew so I can do the crazy crap that's in my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I don't need to make millions and millions and millions of dollars, though it'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I want to take it as far as I can. You know, I'd love to be on the road, opening up for, you know, some big folks that I really love and aspire to be like, and you know, and eventually, obviously, be doing bigger headlining shows and have my crazy circus on the road with me, and you know, take my friends along for the ride, and you know, work with good people and wonderful people, and see the world. You know, see as much of this planet as I can. I want to be big in Europe. You know, I just want to be big in Europe. I want Europeans to think I'm cool.
That's fair. That's fair.
So for the last couple of questions, we'll actually shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Boom again.
With a drink.
With a drink.
Probably either Thai iced tea. I'll go with the drink first. Either Thai iced tea, or cherry Coke, man. I love a good cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke's good.
Meal. It's probably be a weird combo. Crawfish etouffee.
With the cherry Coke.
Yeah. If it's like crawfish etouffee is like, for those, it's like a Cajun thing. It's like crawfish and like this creamy sauce, and it's so good. Probably that. Yeah, probably that, and a cherry Coke. This would go better with the cherry Coke.
Okay.
An Italian beef from Chicago, probably Portillo's. Yeah, it's like they do this thing where they it's like a cheesesteak, but they take the cheesesteak and they dip it in au jus sauce, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like so they literally take the whole thing. And so if you get like a French dip, like they'll they pour the stuff or you like dip it in. No, they dunk the whole thing. So the sandwich is soggy. And you would think that would be gross, but it's actually so good. It's so incredible. So, yeah, we're going Italian beef and cherry Coke.
Okay. All right. Good choice.
Yeah. Chicago represent.
Mm-hmm. So, if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Such an awesome question.
Thank you.
Oh, man. See, it's like I feel like all the ones that I'm like you think of, you're like, because it's like I feel like you think of like Harry Potter, you think of like, you think of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like that's where my brain goes. But then I'm like, yeah, but like, do you have to deal with dark wizards and like?
Well, demons? For Harry Potter, you could choose like which time you want to go to. So if you want to go like before Harry and before like everything, kind of collapses in on itself, you can do that. Or if you want to go after Harry where everything's sunshine and rainbows, that's cool too. Or if you want to see everything, collapse in on itself, you could go when Harry's going.
Oh my gosh. But then there's like future worlds too. There's like futurist. Oh my gosh, this is such an awesome question. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. my brain is stuck in Harry Potter.
Go with Harry Potter then. What house are you?
I'm not gonna lie. It's like I feel like I don't know enough about the other. I mean, let's be real. The two houses that like no one really like talks about. You know what I mean? It's like I don't really know enough about like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw to like really say. I don't know. I mean, if you guys know more about it after discussing, like hearing me talk, what would you say?
Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's cool. I'll take it. What house was Luna Lovegood in? Because she wasn't Gryffindor.
No, I'm pretty sure she was Gryffindor.
I don't know.
I can hear. I'm gonna look.
You better look this up. Because I have a question. I have a question that I ask a lot of my friends, which is always fun. If you were in the Harry Potter world, no, like put age aside because obviously it gets kind of weird, If you were in the Harry Potter world, what character would you be the most attracted to? Like, who would be your type?
I don't like any of them. Yeah, I don't. They're just
know enough about it.
Yeah, Shane. I don't think
I read like the first book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, she was a Ravenclaw. I thought she was. Yeah, Ravenclaw.
See, because the reason that I say this is because I feel like Luna Lovegood. I'd be like in love with Luna Lovegood.
Oh.
Like total like weirdo girl. Dad writes for like a conspiracy theory like magazine. You know what I mean? And she's just kind of aloof, but she's like super smart and like. Oh, like. Oh my God. I'd love her. But oh man. Yeah, see now I'm stuck because again I asked that question to so many people that now I'm stuck. It's like I feel like it'd be Harry Potter.
Okay. I mean, you've been stuck on Harry Potter, so I think just lock it in. I think
it's safe to say it's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You're like, listen guys, it's getting late. It's Harry Potter. All right,
listen, I would never ever do that ever in a million years. Say we have 5 minutes.
All right, fine. Harry Potter. That's such a. I'm sure there's. I will think of like 50 when
you'll DM us after this. You'll be like, okay, so actually, you got to edit over this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person you've spoken to has said the most important question. What's your favorite color?
My art school friends would be upset if I didn't say a really specific one, but I probably will just, in general, probably green.
Ooh, good color.
And it's not like I have tons of green things in my house or anything like that, but it's just, it's I want to have a green house someday, which I own a house right now, which I could absolutely like
paint green.
Green at some point. That there's only so much money to go around. But I love green colored homes. Yeah, so I feel like that'd probably be like, I'm big into like blues too. There's so many good ones. I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, we'll go with green. Women love good green.
Okay.
Solid.
Wait. What color is Ravenclaw?
Ravenclaw's blue.
Oh, frick. Okay.
Yeah, you were close. Well, Slytherin's green, but you're getting there.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Yeah, sure. So again, the new EP is called The Shimmer. That's the main thing that's out on all the streaming sites and all that stuff. I'm making a ton of videos right now, lots of live looping videos. I have some official music videos and doing some acoustic stuff and some cover stuff. Releasing those every couple weeks on my YouTube channel. So go on YouTube and subscribe. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everything is /Lucas Carpenter. Except Instagram is Lucas Carpenter Music because some random dude has Lucas Carpenter. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm doing everything I can while I'm not on tour.
All right.
So lots of content coming out.
Okay. Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This is Lucas Carpenter, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.